There was a time when you questioned everything about yourself. You wondered why life felt heavier for you than for others, why betrayal seemed to find you, why loneliness wrapped itself around you even in crowded rooms. But what if those seasons weren't punishments? What if they were preparation? Transformation is not gentle. It strips, it burns, it isolates. And if you're watching this right now, it's because deep down you feel it. You are not the same person anymore. The old you reacted quickly. The old you needed validation. The old you tolerated things that drained your spirit. But now, you pause, you observe, you protect your energy. That didn't happen by accident. That happened through fire. Think about a caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. It doesn't grow wings overnight. It dissolves inside the cocoon. It literally breaks down before becoming something unrecognizable. Does that sound familiar? Psychologists call this identity restructuring. After trauma or deep life shifts, the brain rewires. You begin seeing patterns differently. You outgrow conversations. You feel uncomfortable in spaces that once felt normal. That discomfort isn't regression, it's evolution. And if you've been feeling disconnected lately, it may not be depression. It may be ascension. Here's the truth. Transformation feels lonely before it feels powerful. And many chosen ones quit in the final stage because they mistake isolation for failure. But what if this quiet season is proof you're almost done shedding the old skin? Pause right now and ask yourself, what have I outgrown this year? Comment below. Let's create a conversation here on Mirror of the Soul. Your story might unlock clarity for someone else reading it. When you're close to breakthrough, resistance increases. It's a universal law. Athletes experience it before championships. Entrepreneurs experience it before major success. Even spiritually, the closer you are to elevation, the louder doubt becomes. Why? Because your old identity is fighting to survive. Have you noticed sudden distractions, random conflicts, emotional waves that don't even make sense? This is the final stretch. Transformation isn't just about becoming stronger, it's about proving you won't return to what broke you. The universe, God, life, however you define it, is asking one last question. Are you really ready? Think of gold in a furnace. It's heated repeatedly until impurities rise to the surface. The heat isn't there to destroy it, it's there to refine it. And maybe that's what's happening to you. Old triggers surfacing. Old wounds testing your healing. Not to pull you back, but to prove you've grown. Don't panic now. Don't sabotage now. Many people self-destruct right before success because comfort calls them back. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar power. But you didn't survive everything just to fold at the finish line. Let's talk about the loneliness. You lost people, some walked away. Some betrayed you, some slowly drifted, and it hurt deeply. But what if that separation wasn't loss, it was alignment? When your frequency changes, your circle changes. That's not arrogance, that's growth. History shows this pattern repeatedly. Prophets, leaders, innovators, before influence came isolation. Even figures like Carl Jung spoke about individuation, the painful but necessary journey of becoming your true self. Individuation requires separation from collective expectations. It requires stepping away from the noise. You couldn't become this version of yourself surrounded by people who only knew the old you. They would have subconsciously pressured you to stay small, to stay familiar, to stay manageable, and you are no longer manageable. Isolation is sacred when you understand it. It teaches you to validate yourself, to sit with your own thoughts, to build emotional independence. That's power. That's maturity. Remember when certain words could ruin your entire day, when rejection felt like proof you weren't enough, when being ignored felt like abandonment. Notice something, those same triggers don't hit the same anymore. That's growth, real growth. Neuroscience tells us that repeated emotional regulation strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-control and decision-making. In simple terms, you trained your mind. Every time you chose silence over reaction, every time you walked away instead of arguing, Every time you cried but didn't collapse, you rewired yourself. And that is not small. You're calmer now, more observant, less reactive. That doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you don't let feelings control your direction. And in a world addicted to emotional chaos, that is rare strength. Can we acknowledge that version of you? Drop a fire in the comments if you've mastered at least one trigger this year. Celebrate it. Growth deserves recognition. Here's something most chosen ones don't realize. Transformation precedes exposure. You thought this was just about healing, but what if it's also about leadership, influence, impact? The reason you had to master your emotions is because you're about to step into rooms where pressure is high. Visibility amplifies everything, including weaknesses, so life refined you first. Have you felt a subtle shift? Like people are watching you differently, asking for your advice, noticing your calm presence. That's not coincidence. Energy speaks before words do. Think about figures like Nelson Mandela. Before leadership came imprisonment. Before global respect came isolation and endurance. Preparation rarely looks glamorous, but when the moment comes, the prepared stand unshaken. This next season may require you to speak more, show up more, lead more, and that's why quitting now would be tragic. You didn't come this far to shrink. If your transformation is almost complete, then hear this clearly. Silence is your final discipline. There's a dangerous temptation that comes when you start feeling powerful again. You want to share your plans. You want to announce your glow-up. You want certain people to see that you're rising. But premature exposure can dilute momentum. Not everyone clapping for you is rooting for you. Psychologically, when you announce goals publicly, your brain releases dopamine as if you've already achieved them. Studies in behavioral science show that this can reduce the drive to actually complete the task. In simple terms, talking too much can slow you down. That's why some of your breakthroughs stalled in the past. This season requires strategic silence. Build quietly, heal privately, execute ruthlessly. The caterpillar doesn't live-stream its cocoon stage. It disappears and then reappears transformed. Transformation without discipline is just inspiration. You've done the emotional work. You've cried the tears. You've had the spiritual revelations, but now comes structure, waking up earlier, protecting your diet, guarding your time, limiting distractions. Destiny doesn't reward potential, it rewards consistency. Look at athletes like Kobe Bryant. His talent was undeniable, but what separated him was discipline, early mornings, relentless repetition, mental toughness. Your next level requires that same devotion, not just spiritually, but practically. Many chosen ones get stuck here. They love the awakening phase but resist the responsibility phase. But responsibility is proof of maturity. If you're truly almost complete, your habits must reflect it. Here's a hard truth. Not everyone will celebrate your transformation. Some people benefited from the old version of you, the insecure you, the overgiving you, the easily manipulated you. Your growth disrupts their comfort, and sometimes instead of applauding you, they distance themselves. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're no longer convenient. Emotional maturity is doing the right thing without needing validation. You don't need likes, praise, or constant reassurance to keep evolving. True transformation is internal before it's visible. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's closure. You cannot step fully into your next level carrying bitterness. It poisons clarity. It clouds decision-making. Studies show chronic resentment increases stress hormones like cortisol, which impacts both mental and physical health. Holding onto anger keeps you tied to the very thing you claim to have outgrown. But hear this carefully. Forgiveness does not mean access. You can release resentment without reestablishing connection. You can wish someone well without inviting them back into your space. Boundaries are not revenge. They are self-respect. Who do you need to forgive internally, not for them, but for you? Reflect on that tonight. Share only if you're comfortable. Vulnerability here on Mirror of the Soul is strength, not weakness. As your transformation completes, your energy becomes sharper, more focused, more intentional. You'll notice you get drained faster in chaotic environments. You'll feel physically uncomfortable around negativity. That's not sensitivity, that's awareness. Energy management is leadership. CEOs talk about time management. Spiritual warriors talk about energy management. Think about figures like Oprah Winfrey. One reason for her longevity is her careful protection of emotional and mental energy. Success without boundaries leads to burnout. Growth without protection leads to regression. Guard your mornings, guard your conversations, guard your attention. Social media gossip, unnecessary debates, they're silent energy leaks. If your transformation is almost complete, you cannot afford leaks. Right before breakthrough, there is one last shedding. It may look like restlessness, like questioning your environment, like suddenly wanting to change routines, upgrade spaces, rearrange priorities. That discomfort is not confusion, it's expansion. Growth stretches you before it stabilizes you. When snakes shed skin, the process is vulnerable. They rub against rough surfaces to loosen the old layer. It's irritating, uncomfortable, necessary. Your life may feel like that right now, friction everywhere, but friction produces renewal. Don't cling to what feels tight. Let it fall. Let the old conversations fade. Let outdated identities dissolve. You are not obligated to remain who you were just because others are comfortable with that version. Are you feeling that restlessness right now? Comment shedding season. You're not alone in it. Comfort is seductive. It whispers, you've grown enough. It tells you to settle, to stay where it's predictable. But transformation doesn't complete in comfort zones. It completes when you choose courage repeatedly. Courage doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's applying for the opportunity, having the difficult conversation, saying no without explaining yourself, starting before you feel fully ready. History honors those who moved despite fear. People like Malala Yousafzai didn't wait for comfort. They acted through uncertainty. And while your journey may not be global activism, your personal courage is just as significant in your world. What courageous step have you been delaying? Write it down. Speak it into existence in the comments. Let this be the moment you commit publicly. Growth is not just about feeling better. It's about becoming accountable for the power you now carry. When you were unaware, you reacted. When you were wounded, you excused yourself. But now, you see clearly, and clarity demands responsibility. Once you know better, you cannot pretend you don't. Think about leaders throughout history like Nelson Mandela. After prison, he had every reason to operate from bitterness, but elevation required restraint, maturity, vision beyond emotion. That is the weight of transformation. You don't just respond emotionally anymore. You respond strategically. You are entering a season where people will look to you differently, for advice, for stability, for perspective. And whether you feel ready or not, your energy will influence others. That's why your discipline, your silence, and your healing matter so deeply. You thought the separation phase was over. It's not. Transformation comes in layers. As you elevate again, your environment will adjust again. Some relationships will deepen. Others will dissolve quietly, not because of drama, but because of direction. Research in psychology shows we naturally align with people who mirror our values and ambitions. When your standards rise, compatibility shifts. It's not betrayal, it's alignment. This next shift won't be loud, it won't be explosive, it will be subtle. Invitations you decline, conversations that feel repetitive, people who sense they can't access you the same way, and that's okay. Don't force connections that no longer feel mutual. The right circle won't require you to shrink. Tell me, have you already noticed your circle changing? Share your experience in the comments. Your story may validate someone else's transition. This is critical. Right before breakthrough, many people unconsciously self-sabotage. They procrastinate. They pick unnecessary fights. They revisit old habits. Why? Because the next level feels unfamiliar, and the brain prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar success. This pattern has been studied in behavioral psychology. When people approach major milestones, anxiety increases, not because they're unworthy, but because growth threatens identity. Your mind asks, "Who will I be if I succeed?" Be aware of subtle distractions right now. Random urges to quit, sudden doubts about your worth, old temptations resurfacing. These are not signs to stop, they are signs you're close. Have you ever ruined something good because you felt unprepared for it? Be honest. Reflection prevents repetition. And if this message is hitting you at the right time, like this video so it reaches someone else who might be standing at their own finish line. Not everything deserves a reaction. True power is emotional neutrality, the ability to remain grounded whether praised or criticized. When compliments don't inflate you and insults don't break you, you become unstoppable. Look at figures like Cristiano Ronaldo, admired and criticized globally, yet he continues performing at elite levels. Why? Because external noise does not dictate internal focus. Emotional neutrality doesn't mean coldness. It means control. It means you don't hand your peace to strangers, social media comments, or outdated opinions. It means you stay centered. Ask yourself, who still has the power to emotionally destabilize you? And why? Awareness is step one. Drop a locked in the comments if you're choosing emotional control this season. If your transformation is almost complete, the next 30 days are not random. They are decisive. This is the period to lock in habits, to clean your space, to organize finances, to refine goals, to reset your sleep schedule. Small, consistent actions compound into major shifts. Science calls this the aggregation of marginal gains. Tiny improvements repeated daily create exponential results. Don't wait for a dramatic sign. Start now. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Journal nightly. Remove one toxic habit. Add one empowering routine. Momentum builds quietly before it becomes visible. Imagine where you could be in 1 month if you truly committed. Visualize it clearly. Then act accordingly. Type 30-day focus below if you're committing. Let's hold each other accountable here on Mirror of the Soul. Not everyone will understand your evolution. Some will call you distant. Some will say you've changed. They're right. You have. But growth often threatens those who remain stagnant. Don't let limited perspectives shrink expansive dreams. Throughout history, visionaries were misunderstood before they were celebrated. Nikola Tesla was considered eccentric before his ideas reshaped technology. Vision requires resilience against doubt. Your ideas may not make sense to everyone right now. That doesn't make them invalid. It makes them early. Who are you allowing to speak into your future? Evaluate that carefully. Comment, vision protected, if you're done explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Leadership doesn't always mean a stage or a microphone. Sometimes it means being the calmest person in the room, the disciplined one in the family, the emotionally stable friend. Influence isn't about volume, it's about presence. You don't need millions of followers to lead. You need integrity, consistency, alignment between your words and actions. That alignment creates quiet authority. On Mirror of the Soul, we don't chase hype. We build depth, and depth creates leaders who don't crumble under pressure. If you've listened this far, here's what you must do now. 1. Choose one discipline and commit fully. 2. Cut one draining connection or habit. 3. Write your 90-day vision clearly. 4. Move in silence while executing daily. 5. Refuse to emotionally regress. Transformation doesn't complete with inspiration. It completes with decision. You are not almost done because life is getting easier. You're almost done because you are getting stronger, calmer, sharper, more intentional. The chaos that once shook you now reveals you. Before you leave this video, I want you to answer this. Who are you becoming, and are your daily actions matching that identity? If this message moved you, like this video, subscribe to Mirror of the Soul if you haven't already. Share this with another chosen one who needs confirmation that they're closer than they think. And in the comments, declare it boldly. My transformation is complete. I move differently now. This isn't the end of your evolution. It's the beginning of your authority.